Hey T Squad, it's me Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 8, Episode 11 review. This week's episode was really poignant. Really poignant. It was a really heartfelt episode, and I really enjoyed it because it really wasn't about all of the mess of it all. And I like that. So in this week's episode, we pick up where we left off last week with Nell telling her children and husband that she don't need therapy. She needs to be out of debt. She needs to be debt free, and for them to leave her alone and stay up out of her wallet. And I understand what she's saying because it's causing her anxiety, dishing out all this money and not getting a return on her loans. But Nell does need therapy because she is quick to trigger. Like, she just goes off. You know what I'm saying? And there's better ways to handle things. Marsau meets up with Tricia's husband, Marquez. And we learned that he actually used to work for Marsau when he was the manager at the local movie theater. And he says that he knew him, he knew Tricia, he knew Ken, but he didn't know that they were all linked together with this situation that they're in. So they sit down at Black and talk, and Marquez, whatever his name is, immediately apologizes because he got into it with Ken at Black. Marsau didn't even know about it. This was something that happened, I guess, like a year prior or whatever. They saw each other and got into it outside or whatever. So he apologizes for that. We learn that he moved to Atlanta after he and Tricia separated. He couldn't deal with it, moved to Atlanta, but says he's back now in Huntsville for his kids to, rebuild his relationship with his children, and admits that he really wasn't there for her when she lost her parents. He said that he never lost anybody in his family, so he really didn't know how to deal with it. He said that he didn't show her any empathy, and I was like, yeah, what is wrong with you? You don't have to lose somebody to know how bad it is to lose a parent, not only one, but 2 6 months apart. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, he crazy too. I see why they was together for so long, because him and Tricia are like mentally stunted. It's something wrong with both of them. I swear some screws are missing. We also learned from him that he says that he loves Tricia, but he doesn't know if he was in love with her. So this really left me with a question mark involving the rest of their conversation and the things that he said, because I'm like, dude, if you don't even know if you ever was in love with this girl. It's given to me that you married her because you felt obligated, because y'all was high school sweethearts. Y'all had a kid with each other. Maybe you felt like that was the right thing to do. And it's given to me very much, you don't want her, but you don't really want anybody else to have her either, which is also weird. And it's like, patch lips, get somewhere and sit down somewhere, please. Ain't nobody got time for you in this foolishness, okay? He then tells Marsau that he moved because he couldn't handle Ken being around his kids. That makes sense. If you don't want this man to be around your kids like that, then I would think that you would be more of a present parent, so he wouldn't have to be around them like that. You don't move away. What? Girl, can't deal with it. So he feels like Tricia then tried to erase the first 6-7 years that he was in their children's lives and make it seem like none of that happened, and that Ken has been the present parent since then, and he don't like that. And I was like, well, sir, you haven't been there. You've been gone till November. What? Like, did he graduate from high school? Because like, what is going on? Please, what is going on? Your kids probably don't even remember you being around for like the first 4 or 5 years. Like, what are you talking about? You left when your daughter was like 7 years old. So of course, at this point, she's present, knows what's going on. She gets it now. She didn't really understand what was going on as a little kid, so she don't remember half of that stuff. Like, this dude is out for lunch. So Marsau checks him real quick and was like, well, if you leave your household, you left your wife and your kids, sir. You can't just do it for 6-7 years and then not do it at all anymore. Like, fatherhood isn't something that you just get. You have to earn it. And I was like, Marsau, you know I don't like you and them elf ears are yours. But when you're right, you're right. And I think out of all the seasons of Marsau being on Love and Marriage Huntsville, this was the most likable I have ever seen him. The most thoughtful I have ever seen him. He gave great advice. And he held this man accountable, because we often see men on reality shows or just in life not hold other men accountable for their shitty behavior. And he held this young man accountable for fucking up and not being a good husband nor a good father. So Marquez says that he still thinks that Tricia loves him and that Ken is a rebound because he was already plotting on her when they were still married. He says that dude would leave chocolate emojis under her pictures. He was texting her and he said he was looking like, well, who in the hell is Ken? And so he said he hit him back and was like, you know, like, what's up? And he said that Ken was like, you need to talk to your wife about that. Now, if this is true, and a part of me feel like it is, and I'm going to tell you why, then Tricia girl, you got a lot of explaining to do, Lucy, because first of all, it's disrespectful for you to be putting chocolate emojis under a married woman's photographs, having text conversations with her, knowing she's married. Like, that's just inappropriate. And if he was disrespecting their marriage and that man like that, then Marquez has every right to feel some type of way towards this dude and towards her, because y'all both playing in my face. Okay. So no, that was totally disrespectful and unacceptable. So he says that the reason why Tricia fell in love with the gym because he was there and she met him there, you know. But I'm also going to say, on the flip side of it, you weren't showing her any attention. You weren't there for her emotionally, physically, financially, or any of those things when her parents died. She said in her confession that she had to continue on with every day-to-day life and that you did not help her at all. So you got this man that's showering her with compliments, being affectionate, talking to her, communicating with her. You don't think that she's going to gravitate towards that? So you got to own up to the fact that you opened the door for space and opportunity for this man to walk in. Okay, all three of y'all is wrong, in my opinion. So then he says that his daughter started acting funny towards him, and she stopped saying she loved him and said she hated him, and that a man doesn't leave their family. And he feels like she got all of that from Tricia. And of course, these are things that a little girl will hear her mama say. Of course, that's where she got it from. She got the verbiage from her mama, but I'm still not going to take that away that she didn't feel that for herself. And Marsau says, no, she got that from you because you left, homeboy. She might have got the verbiage from her mama, but the feeling came from you, my guy. So you can tell Marquez ain't hearing what he want to hear. He thought that Marsau was going to be on his side, like, yeah, fuck her, fuck him. They was on some bullshit, da 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 da. And Marsau wasn't doing it. He says that he still is a present father. He talks to them every day. And Marsau was like, sir, you talking on the phone is not being a parent because you're not physically there. So then you want to get mad when this man is taking them to school, picking them up, spending time with them because you ain't doing it. You're not there. You can have a conversation on the phone with anybody. That don't mean shit. Like, sir, him and Tricia, please don't bring them back next season. Please do not. So then his news say that he don't want Ken involved with his kids at all. He can be with Tricia. They can get married, live in the same house together, but he doesn't want him to have any kind of communication with his children at all. He's just supposed to walk past them and ignore them, which is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, patch lips. Shut up, because you sound stupid as hell. Stupid as hell. Why would you want a man around your children that don't acknowledge them at all. Like, shut up, you dimwit. Fucking nincompoop. So Marsau says, you want to take accountability for leaving, but you don't want to take accountability for the consequences. And I was like, you better speak a word. So Marquez says that he needs to have a conversation with Ken because they haven't had that and he needs that for himself. And I don't take that away from him. He does need that. They do need to handle stuff as men without getting physical and all of that type of stuff. But there is a conversation that needs to be had. So Marsau was like, you got to recognize that this guy picked up where you left off. And Marquez was like, I got a hard time, accepting it and dealing with that. And Marsau was like, you know what? Your first words should be out your mouth when you talk to him. And he was like, and you're not going to like this, but it should be thank you. And I agree. Because he at least has been present in your kid's life. Obviously, he's good to them. They like him. They love him. He ain't treating them bad. He ain't treating her bad. He's helping out financially and all of these different things, emotionally, physically with your children. And it's a lot of men that don't do that. It's a lot of men that will be with the mama and don't really fuck with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with Marsau that you need to be telling this man, thank you for picking up where I fell the fuck off. Because I stopped doing what the fuck I was supposed to be doing as a father. Okay? So you shouldn't be hating that man for that. Now, you can hate him for the way that he got with your wife. Of course, 1000%. Ken says that, Marquez then says that Ken has been there financially for not only Tricia, but their son. He bought him a car. Like, this man out here buying your son a car. Why you ain't the one that bought him a car? But then you want to have girl, get out of here. So Marsau was like, start acknowledging that this guy has been picking up the slack. And Marquez says he ain't got no choice. What the fuck? Like, he doesn't even make sense. He, throughout this entire conversation, kept on contradicting himself. And Marsau was like, he does have a choice. He can leave like you left. And I was like, oh, them fight words, child. Marquez had egg on his face once again, and he was like, he ain't finna leave. He worshiped the ground she walk on. And Marsau was like, well, somebody does. You didn't. And I was like, if you don't stop hitting this man with jabs to the face, okay? Once again, Marquez just sitting there like, this nigga here, like, this ain't going, no way. This ain't going at all how I expected. So Marsau says that he can have issue with how they started their relationship, but that he needs to acknowledge that he's been there for his kids. And Marquez that shit was going in one ear and out the other. He was not trying to hear shit that Marsau was saying. And I feel like what he said about Tricia and Ken starting whatever before he left, I believe it. I believe it 1000%. And this goes back to what I've been saying with Tricia and Martell. Said it last week. She cheated on that man with Marsau. She cheated on that man with Martell. That's why they've been carrying this the way they've been carrying it throughout this season. She hiding stuff and she lying because the patterns all are lining up. You was already seeing somebody else, whether it just be an emotional affair, whatever, you was already starting something with this man while you was still with your husband. Okay. Now you get with Ken, and obviously you was with Ken while you linked up with Martell. It all lines up. You went over there and was creeping around over there with Martell. Martell ain't lying that you came over to his crib a few times. The way y'all interact with each other says it all. So you got some explaining to do once again, Lucy. Okay, because sorry, Ken, but how you get them is how you lose them. And Tricia seems like she is sneaky. She seems like she is very sneaky, and she seems like she's a liar. I'm just going to tell you. So I can't wait to see next week's episode to see what she's going to say to him about Martell saying that she came over to his house and all of this type of stuff. Girl, a mess. But yeah, she cheated on you with Martell, child. So Nell visits Mel at her house and tells her how everyone said that she needs therapy, including Chris. And Mel was like, yeah, you get a little snippety snappity with me too. She was like, you do need to talk to somebody. You do. And it seemed like coming from Mel, she was able to accept it. You could tell she has a hard time accepting that type of criticism, especially since she and her husband help counsel other people. But it's different when you counseling other people versus when you dealing with your own shit. All of this stuff that Nell is going through is actually affecting her health. She didn't even pass her physical. Her blood pressure and stuff is high. And I'm like, of course it's high, because baby, you be getting so angry and riled up. And I'm like, girl, woosah for a minute. It ain't that deep, girl. Then we switch to the day of the therapy session, and Nell tells Chris that he doesn't support her with the kids. She doesn't feel supported at all. Dr. Francis arrives, and she tells him that they need to set boundaries with the kids, and that the kids nor Chris listen to her, and that Chris often takes their side over hers. So it's kind of like she's always the bad guy. Lance, her oldest son, that is not Chris's, says that, Chris listens to me, to us, and that Nell listens to have a rebuttal, and that then shuts him down. He was like, so that's why I go to dad, you know what I'm saying, versus you. Because yes, you can say or feel how you feel. You can be on some, I told you, you don't listen. But at the same time, have some compassion there somewhere. If you always doing this, ain't nobody gonna want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that all the damn time. So no, I wouldn't come to talk to you. Okay. And not to saying that Nell's feelings aren't valid though. So Nell get to going off, child, and says that she tells them the truth. And I already told your ass before you did what you did. And so Dr. Francis says that his kids even go to their mom, and that she comes and tells him. And that's how they deal with the situation. Baby Nell gets offended. Was like, oh, so they just need to skip over me because you don't want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's like, well, girl, what is it? Do you want them to come talk to you or not? You just told them to leave you the hell alone. So if you want them to leave you the hell alone, then let them go talk to their daddy about it. And then he come talk to you about it. Y'all converse. And then he takes whatever decision y'all make as a couple back to the children. If you don't want to be constantly bogged down by your children's issues. Like, come on, Nell. Like, which one is, like, you was getting on my nerves. So Kayla says that something inside of her dies whenever her mama get to going off and stuff, and that she shuts down emotionally. Dr. Francis says that Nell tries to hide that she is very delicate on the inside. And you can tell that. And he then has her talk individually to each child and tell them something that she admires, likes about them. And she goes down the line and has really poignant, deep conversations with all the children. By the time it's over, everybody is crying. And Dr. Francis said something that was so vital. He said, please continue to fertilize your children with love. It's the only thing that's going to make them grow. Cussing them out and putting them down is not going to do any good. Baby, if you don't take nothing else from this video, take away that quote, because that is so true. We all know our kids get on our nerves and we got to go off on them and yell at them and all that stuff. But in the midst of all that, you still have to find understanding and compassion and know how to communicate and talk and give them the open space to be themselves and to feel comfortable talking to you. And I can say that with me and my son's relationship, I have allowed him to have an open door policy with me where he can talk to me about any and everything. And he does. And a lot of people be so shocked by that. They be like, he don't tell you everything. And I be like, yeah, he does. Because I'm not going to sit up here and be like, you did, or judge him. I'm going to keep it honest with him, and I'm going to keep it real and 100 with him. I'm going to keep it a buck with him like he my homie off the street. And then I'm going to give him that motherly love and advice as well. And Nell says she going to do better. I hope she does, but I think she going to need more than one therapy session. I'm just going to keep it a buck. So then at the end of the episode, Tricia and Marquez meet up, and he says that he can't get with Ken because he was waiting in the wings the whole time. And he has a right to feel some type of way about that. But once again, you wasn't doing your job, sir. So, hey. So Tricia was like, well, the person that I wanted to be there wasn't, sir. So she says that they grew apart. And he says that she got with Mr. Muscles. Baby, he is so intimidated by this man being very muscular and big because he is a very small man. So Tricia says that she did not cheat on him and she don't appreciate the fact that he's trying to make it seem like her and Ken had something going on when they didn't. I don't believe you, Tricia. I don't care how mildly you speak, how low you speak, how much you whisper talk. I don't believe you, girl. Marquez says that their daughter doesn't talk to him because of Ken. He says that, no, she was like, no, that's not true. She's like, you need to talk to Zaria to find out why she don't F with you. It ain't got nothing to do with Ken. And I believe her. I really do believe her on that. And he asks, well, why is she calling Ken her dad? And he tells the story about, he went up to the school for something and the teacher was like, oh, I didn't know you were coming. I thought you were still on the road trucking. And he was looking like, I don't do no dang on trucking. And she was like, he said that the teacher was like, oh yeah, because she was talking about her dad in class. And she was like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And I was like, it do got something to do with you, Tricia. But at the same time, once again, Marquez, you ain't been around, sir. Tricia was like, cause Ken is there all the time. So Marquez was like, but we're still married. What the fuck does that mean when you don't even love this girl? You ain't even in love with her. So like, huh? So he then says, we ain't gonna be able to move forward until me and Ken have a talk. And she was like, I agree. You both do need to talk. Then he was like, and while I'm here in Huntsville, I'll go and file the divorce papers. I think it's like $400. You gonna pay for half? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, this lousy nigga here. Get him off of my screen. You broke motherfucker. Then I think he mad because Ken is a man's man. He stand on business. He taking care of things. Maybe he is not on the same financial level as Ken. But yeah, I think he has a lot of insecurities when it comes to Ken. And it's more than him having muscles because what? Ugh. Such a turn off patchwork. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm going to give this week's episode an A. It was really good, really touching. This week, you guys, I have a luxury versus look-alike video on some items, some luxury items that I just purchased. Some are real, some are dupes. And I want you guys to figure out which one is the real, which one is the fake. That video will be dropping Wednesday. Tuesday, I have a Temu haul video that you guys must tune in for because I try on clothes so you don't have to. And I'll let you know whether it's good quality or not. Also, I have a Shein haul dropping later on this week. I got a bunch of sneakers and stuff I want to show y'all that I just got. And I have another video that I'll be dropping soon on shocking celebrity transformations, where your favorite heartthrob or favorite Smex kitten used to be the Isn't It back in the day, and now they're barely recognizable. Okay, so you do not want to miss that video. Tune in for all of those this week. Please support your girl. Please make sure that you guys thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications so you know when my videos drop. I love you, and I'll see you guys on the next video.